What's good, guys? Welcome back. Yo, yo, yo. However you want to introduce. But we're back. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We will be beginning shortly as usual. Just waiting for a couple more people to join up. Give them some time. Pretty good trade with Don today, right? I think it was a pretty simple analysis, something that was relatively clear in terms of like direction, or at least like the short-term direction. We'll break it down. We'll show you guys exactly what that trade was, why it made sense, and on the whole lot. But yeah, we will be starting very, very soon. There's volume at a pretty no, yeah, basically, right? I think we started to push late session as well. But I think we broke this down during the members yesterday. Like, you were just like in this range, not much was gonna happen. So, I mean, we'll see where it is, but like the kind of analysis kind of played out, right? In terms of us understanding that you're just in the range. And there's a high chance that until Wednesday, which is tomorrow, you're not going to get too much. And typically, if you get really aggressive news, what is like typically the better trading day is the day after news. So maybe Thursday we'll get our next really nice position. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. After we do analysis, we'll have a better idea of where price wants to go, where it's kind of stabilized at the moment, and what it did throughout the day, right? But that's the purpose of these streams, so we can kind of understand at a high level what price is doing, so we can have a slightly better picture going into tomorrow, even though all of it will change, right? Once you kind of have Asian and London, the kind of price action will change, but it will be beneficial for everybody who's trading Asian and London, right? Even to most of the times, to be fair, it's pretty useful for all of us trading New York as well, because we have a overall idea of how the daily closed, which will give us an idea of what the daily will be doing next, right? But yeah. And typically, right, even if you're, say, like in the middle of New York session, right, you've already gone through Asian and London, obviously, it's the last session of the day, right? But the analysis doesn't really change when it comes to what the higher time frames are doing, right? Your daily only prints a daily candle every day. Your weekly only prints a weekly candle every week, right? So at a high level, the daily analysis is pretty valid, right, throughout the day. It's just the kind of overall direction of maybe the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the smaller time frames, and those are the ones you really have to kind of pay attention to, I would say. Hopefully, his music is not too loud. Gotta get some water. Oh, wow. That was some holy water right there. Oh shit, it's 10:15. Right, cool guys. Let us begin. the analysis, right? So welcome back, guys. Today is the 23rd of January, 2024. We're going to be doing an analysis as usual, and it's the same two lines. All right, thanks for joining up, guys. That is the analysis for the night. Hope you've enjoyed it. Overall, it's been a pretty good analysis. I think we understood exactly where price is going to go. We have pretty clear goals. So yeah, thanks for joining, and we're going to be ending the streams here. All right, okay, all jokes aside, same two lines, right? 2073 and 1990, 1991 sorts of areas. Overall, we're still in the range. We haven't even tapped the bottom of the range, which is towards 1990, but it might be a while before the monthly is able to tap into that range. It may even be next month, right? Because what you could see is potentially price closing relatively similar to this, because we only have I think 6 trading days left. And for next month's candle, you may see a bullish, right, push towards this kind of 2073 sorts of areas, but after a steeper bottom wick. Right, so if that happens, fantastic, right? We're understanding that firstly, our overall monthly goal has tapped, right? We have grabbed some level of liquidity towards these areas, but we've still respected the range, right? So the range we're respecting is between 1990 and 2073. So as long as the monthly candle doesn't close below, we're still in the range, right? Any given point, you can come back up to fill 2073, which is what we're expecting, right? But overall, if that's what we're expecting for this month, cool. We still have room to come down. I don't think we. How far were we from 1990? About 110 pips, right? So you still got a bit of range left overall, but price is currently rejecting after creating that lower low. So is that liquidity for us to continue pushing up again, right? You have to be asking yourself that, and how does that relate to the overall monthly picture, right? Your monthly picture is showing you that there's a high chance that this re-break the lows could either be one of two things, right? Either it's going to continue driving down, and currently the push going back up is just liquidity to come down, right? Or this could be price creating a lower low just to create liquidity for us to continue driving back up, right? So there's obviously those two different situations, but just based off this monthly candle, it's very difficult to tell. Overall, the monthly candle is the same as it has been for the last 23 days, where we are expecting it to flip bullish because your last month closed very bullish with a very nice top wick, right? But the only caveat to that is that we have closed respecting 2073. So ideally, if we get a monthly breakout above 2073, a bottom wick, we should be looking to flip and retest those highs. But at the moment, it's going to take a little bit more time to that for that to happen. It could be news tomorrow, right? I think you also have a little bit of news on Friday as well. I don't, maybe Thursday, Friday. I think you have a little bit of news each day. Wednesday, tomorrow is the red folder, but overall, that could be the catalyst that pushes price up. But we just don't know at the moment, right? But that's basically the monthly analysis there. Dropping down to the weekly then. All right, we're understanding that overall our weekly range I would put towards around 2017, right? Just the top of this range. Just keep it simple for yourselves, right? You don't have to kind of look in between these ranges like, oh, look, there's a level here. Oh, but there's also a level here. There's a wick here, but it doesn't really align here. What do I look for? Just keep it simple, right? You closed above, this high, which is, the most definite, like you definitely have a range in between here, right? You probably also have smaller ranges in between here, but, it's very clear for us that this is a range. And for this week, we closed. Sorry, we haven't closed, but we've opened up. I think we created a top wick first, maybe. No, we came down first. Okay, cool. Right, we came down first. We tapped into 2017, right, which is our weekly range, like 2017, 2016 sorts of areas. Cool. We tapped the bottom of the range. If that is the bottom of the range that we're respecting at the moment, then there's a high chance that price is going to start coming back up, right? Because last week's candle we still respected. So if anything, what I'm more expecting for this week is probably something that looks like this, right? Why? Because I'm understanding that if you've closed respecting this range, it clearly shows that number one, you don't have enough liquidity to drive out, and number two, right, you don't have the direction to drive down either. Because if you wanted to drive down, you would have closed below, grabbed some liquidity, and continued, right? At the moment, it's showing you that it doesn't want to close below, right? Number one. And number two, even if it wanted to continue bearish, right, you would need to grab liquidity above these highs here, which lends itself really well to your overall monthly target, right? monthly targets being 2073, and us not tapping in 1990 yet could be a next month liquidity sort of thing, or maybe we can come back down further to grab liquidity to continue up, right? So there's multiple things that can be happening on the weekly, but I'm understanding that at the moment, if this is the range that we're in, high chance after tapping the bottom of the range, you could be looking to continue retesting those highs, just because when you're in a range, you typically range, right? So your next move is to continue to those highs. And also overall for your weekly bias, right? So looking at this overall kind of the market structure for the weekly, it is very bullish, right? Obviously, I think back in December, we didn't really close above the overall range here, but again, we're just kind of ranging in this area. So what you typically want to see is price doing something like this, right? Coming back down, grabbing liquidity, and then flipping back up to go up, right? So if that's the case for the weekly, then this might just be the beginning of that liquidity being grabbed for us to continue up. But we'll see that happen. We'll see that happen as the weekly starts to close. Ideally, this week will close bullish, right? If we want to continue pushing towards the top of the range, or potentially even get breakouts in line with the monthly flip, right? But overall, that's kind of what we're expecting in terms of the weekly. So I was bearish, right? Bearish until you kind of tapped in 2017. Currently, I don't really have too much of a bias on the weekly, but we'll need the kind of smaller time frames to kind of show us exactly what price wants to do. So this 2017 level, I'm just going to move it right here. Pretty clean level, I'm not going to lie, right? Your weekly opened, you tapped into 2016.57 on the dot, which was your daily and your weekly bottom of the range. Cool, right? But another area you have to be interested in, right, is probably this area at 2031. I'd say top wick here. You have quite a lot of, rejections and support around here, right? So overall, if that is your daily range as well, then noticing this candle, right? What do you notice? You notice that it hasn't closed above the range. You were bullish, right? You were bullish and you came up, you broke the previous daily highs, but you didn't close above 2031. So what does that indicate? Again, it indicates that there's a high chance price is still within this range, right? Price could come all the way back down and just continue ranging here, right? But if it does want to break out, what are we going to need to see? We're probably going to need to see some liquidity in the form of a bottom wick for the next daily candle, right? For the previous candle, but the next daily candle produces it. And then as we flip up, get closures above 2031, that'd be fantastic, right? And then we can look to take those positions going up. So if the daily could do something like this, where we get a closure that looks something similar to that, right? Then cool. Then the next daily candle, we can look to take potential positions from here up to around these sorts of areas, top of the range around here, right? And that would be a pretty nice position towards around 2046 sorts of areas, right? But how can we get into those positions, right? Because it might take a little bit longer for that to print, especially because this needs a bottom wick, right? And at any given point, price can continue to drive because you have a pretty nice range fill on the wick for the daily. But if you do just kind of pop up immediately first, it's going to be very difficult for us to get those trades, I would say. Ideally for tomorrow, before news and like kind of Asian and London, what would happen, right, is it comes down first, creates that bottom wick, and then hopefully I would say like probably like during news or like right after news, if price then flips the daily candle, starts coming back up, we'll probably look for like 5-minute closures above certain ranges, a bottom wick, and then a continuation, right? Because if it's breaking this low, you have one issue that you're worrying about, which is price going to now flip bearish? Is the bias now bearish, right? Because you're still in this range. Any given point coming down, right, could mean that, okay, this could be further liquidity that you grabbed for yesterday for you to come down, but it's just slightly delayed, right? The other point of view that you could have for the bullish buys is prices coming down to grab liquidity to go up. So by waiting for that 5-minute closure on the news candle, which will have a lot of volume, right, we can confirm if price wants to drive down, it probably would have, right? It start reversing. But if it creates a bottom wick, steep bottom wick, and then flips, then cool. We can probably look to take those buys aligned with the kind of daily flip. The daily being, I would say still rather a little bit more bullish than bearish at the moment, especially if the weekly has closed exactly. Oh, sorry, the weekly has kind of come down, tapped the bottom of the range already. So I'm slightly more bullish than I am, and that kind of aligns relatively well with the monthly as well. Understanding that we're likely to flip on the monthly just based off of overall structure to the left. right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about in terms of the daily candle. Um, Obviously, I mentioned, a bottom wick around these areas would be nice, but let's jump down to the 4 and let's kind of see what's kind of going on there, right? So the 4, again, you're just in this range. Nothing has really happened, right? You tap the bottom of the range here. You've just come back up. You didn't close above the range, right? Your range here, I would say, I mean, this is not bad, right? 2031, you have wicks here, some support, some resistance, right? Overall, 2031 is still a pretty strong level. I would say your next level is probably somewhere around here, right? Around 2038. Going across, you may see this maybe slightly lower around here, around 2037.7, right? Overall, you haven't got that closure, but you tap that on the dot as well. So there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things that can happen, right? Because at the moment, you've been ranging in this area for I think the last like 3 trading days. So from Friday to around today, right? And so once you eventually get that breakout in either direction, you have to think about, okay, what does that look like in terms of the bigger picture, right? If you get a breakout up, is that necessarily going to be us to take a buy, right? And how can we confirm that that's definitely a position for us to take a long position, right? And if it closes below, you have to ask yourself, okay, so is this the actual direction? Do we have enough liquidity? And all those questions, right? Overall, I would say for your 4-hour structure, right, you're coming down, your daily is also kind of coming down. So if you do get a breakout below, high chance you will retest around 2005 sorts of areas. But why didn't it happen when you kind of got this overall structure here? Why didn't it drive when it came down to 2016, right? Is it because price wants to start rejecting and wants to start going up? In that case, right, we could probably look for some liquidity outside of the range to continue down. So what that would look like is, you're ranging in between here, come back up, right? You get a fake out and then you continue down. And if that happens, cool. We can look to this, take this position because you've created that extra high for us, which kind of helps us understand and validate that that's going to be the daily high, right? But if you want to take buys, once you kind of just get a closure above, I'm worried because overall, last time you got closures above, cool, you pushed, but then your overall direction was to come down again. All right. So what's to say that this wouldn't be one of these candles where you just get a fake out to come down immediately? So again, I'd probably need something to confirm that's the definite bias or kind of direction that price wants to drive in. So I'll probably wait for a bottom wick, relatively steep, and then a rebreak of this high, and then I'll probably look to take that. All right. So overall, that's what I'm thinking about in terms of the 4. The 4 at the moment is, again, just to reiterate, we are in the range. Nothing really happened, I would say, for the day. We had some pretty nice positions, I think. Yeah, as this hourly kind of closed, I think back below like 20, like just, I think it wasn't the 30. It was it the hourly? I was looking on the 5. It was this closure here. What time was this? 1:20? It was this. Yeah, so at this point, right, we're understanding that price. If you just look at the hourly structure, right, it's a little bit messier, I would say, but overall you establish something around these sorts of areas. So your most recent support, I would say, is around here, right? Some levels of rejection here. You have some wicks that are I would say I'd put it around here actually, right? Overall, you're kind of respecting this level. Your bullish candle closed. Sorry, your previous candle before we got into the position was closed bullish, right? And then you started coming up, right? You're coming up. Oh, wow, this is great. You created a top wick for this. But you just had this massive kind of rejection here at 2037. Your 4-hour at that time, I think, was also pretty bearish to come down, right? But you created a higher, a steeper top wick for your 4-hour candle. You created a very steep top wick for your hourly. And then as you're coming down, we'll see it on the 15, right? You just kind of you spiked up and then you started closing back below the range. Below kind of 2026, 2025, right? Overall range is around here. And then the kind of position that we took was kind of below around these areas to come down to here. So it was a relatively clean position, I would say, because again, just based off of what we mentioned just now, what we typically need to see is, okay, cool, if price is going to go up, can I take these buys? If I want to take these buys, what am I going to need to see? Right? I'm going to need to see a confirmation that this is going to be the daily low. I don't know if that is, right? And then as price is flipping now, then cool, you're understanding that even if you want to drive back up, you need to grab liquidity. And that liquidity exists, probably somewhere below around these areas, right? And also, if you want to kind of if you want to start driving down, right, you're going to create a lower low, likely going to tap you down into these sorts of ranges here, right? Obviously, you didn't tap, right? Price started to reject once you kind of tapped around these areas instead. But overall, that was, I would say, our goal, right? You'd probably have an initial goal around like I would say these areas around 2022, 2023. But after that, you're understanding that there's a high chance that price, if it wants to continue driving after this fake out, it would come down. So now I'm asking myself, right, why didn't it drive down to 2020, right? Now we just go back up to the slightly higher time frames, and you just see that this liquidity grab was still within the range, right? We didn't really push too far after we grab this liquidity because it's not like breaking these highs, or we haven't really broken any kind of structure to grab liquidity. We've broken structure in terms of like kind of the 5, 15, 30, but in terms of like the 4 hour, the 1 hour, we haven't really broken any structure. So overall, not expecting too big of a push, but a push nonetheless, right? So pretty clean positions there overall, I would say. As price is now pushing back up, you have a daily closure that looks like this, which again, mentioning you're just in this range again. So yeah, in terms of confirmations and positions that I'll look for, if the daily candle opens up being relatively bearish first with no top wick, that's probably an advantage for us, I would say. Even though we didn't close above, right, I'm understanding that my confirmations for now is that the weekly kind of tap bottom of the range. You're now flipping bullish. Your daily has closed bullish after a bottom wick as well for the previous daily. If it comes down for a steeper bottom wick, that would be great. At the moment, I don't know where that is going to be, mainly because you've already tapped into the bottom of the weekly range. If you continue breaking this, there's a high chance you're going to continue down, right? You also have to bear in mind that your weekly did close bearish, and you have a monthly goal in terms of liquidity down to 1990. So at the moment, they're pretty 50-50, right, in terms of what the overall bias is. So I would say for tomorrow, yeah, definitely be careful. It's going to be slightly more difficult until price actually picks a direction. And the direction at the moment looks to be if you break above 2037, you still don't have direction. If you break below 2016, you also still don't have direction, right? Because at any given point, the breakout above 2037 could be liquidity for us to continue driving down, right? Because last time you grabbed liquidity here, you didn't do it. Here, you didn't do it. So what do you need, right? Looking left, right? Looking at these cases here where you have these two highs, you grab another top wick here, and then you start driving down to create those low lows. So if that's what we need, then we're expecting, again, some liquidity around these sorts of areas potentially at 2046. And if that's happening, then we can probably look to take buys to go up to 2045, but that would be our overall goal, I would say. And then if we're looking for sells, again, I'm going to need to confirm that that's going to be the top wick for the daily, because if there isn't a top wick for the daily, it's going to be very difficult. Price can flip at any given point, given that the daily closed bullish, right? So yeah, a lot of things to kind of figure out as price prints more candles tomorrow, I would say. And today, actually, I'm going to have no buy or sell kind of locations. Just looking left, if we're looking at what price could potentially mirror, it's a little bit more difficult, but I would expect price to probably break some of these highs eventually to come up to around that 2046, 2048 level. And as that's happening, cool, we can look to get some more positions, but ideally we get bottom wicks again towards around these sorts of areas, right? Around 2016 again, or just a break of some of these lows to come down. So if you look left, last time we want to start coming back up, right? You tapped into these areas, but you then came back down to around here, also around these areas around 2018. So anywhere within this box here, I'm looking for some liquidity. All right, if price does that in terms of the daily candle, that'd be great. What does the daily look like at that point? Potentially a daily bottom wick. That is pretty steep, right? Pretty steep daily bottom wick. And that would be enough for us to confirm that this could be enough liquidity for price to drive up. And yeah, I think that's basically it. If we're looking for sells down, again, you've already tapped into these areas once. I would be looking for potentially tapping into slightly higher ranges towards around 2045, I would say, around these sorts of areas, if not even higher. Like the box for that, I would say, let's draw that out, is anywhere between like here and like here. I would say that's the kind of area I'm looking for liquidity, 2045 to 2047. And until that taps, it's going to be very difficult for us to see price drive in a very aggressive manner. And by all means, price can come all the way up to these areas and then start driving straight up, right? It definitely can, right? But in that case, I'd expect a pretty steep bottom wick, or as price is driving up, pretty steep bottom wicks to continue going up, right? Because it needs to grab liquidity as it's pumping up. And if not, it will stop at some point, right? We just don't know where. So again, taking the sells as it's just coming down with no top wick, it's difficult. But if it starts driving, you also can't get into positions, and there's nothing you can do, right? You just watch price drive. But that's also okay. I love watching price drive and not having any positions. If that follows my plan, then that's exactly what I'll do, right? If not, if I kind of FOMO in, I'll regret it in the next day, right? Or I'll definitely regret it if the next loss I take, which is also a FOMO, because I'll be like, oh, why did I get into that trade? Clearly, I knew I shouldn't have gotten into that trade, but I did because I was chasing, right? And it wasn't my plan. So might as well try to eliminate that while you're looking at the charts, eliminate that emotion entirely, and so you'll just kind of have a easier time trading in general. But yeah, I would say generally we're good. So why am I not looking for this area to get tapped? Because you've already tapped this area twice. If you do want to tap this area again, I don't know if it's going to be for a rejection because you've retested it twice already. It could be to just drive through the next time. But yeah, we will see. We will see. Let's see what the boys are up to.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, fantastic. It is a Tuesday, so we had some 2 for Tuesday's Domino's pizzas.
All right. Elvis, I would probably have straight up a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that we could maybe anticipate some mirror, like if you look on the 18th
Of December?
No, on the 18th here.
Like here.
Yeah, should be in December. Yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
December.
on the
Okay. So around like
yeah,
these
somewhere
areas.
up there, a little bit after, because kind of looks like we're at the same stage right now. Yeah. So if you look, we closed below, and then we came up, so we are kind of at the same level right now.
Oh, so you're looking at this exact area here to come back up?
Yeah, exactly. So we closed below, we came back up, we closed respecting.
Yeah.
Then on the open, maybe like a steep bottom wick or a little bit of a bottom wick, and
Yeah.
then also with potential closing above, having the liquidity grab back into the range, but respecting and then pushing up maybe.
So what I would be, I mean, just based off of this structure, right?
Yes, exactly
Right.
this one.
So what I would say here is it's completely in line with what we're looking for, because if the daily pushes up immediately, it taps into our kind of overall higher time frame zone, right? That we're expecting liquidity. I can't take a position there anyways, right? But as price is coming back down to confirm that this is going to be the low for the day, or the next kind of structure wise, then we closed back above this range again, then cool, we'll have some pretty nice positions going up, right?
Because
above
that's
this
also
candle.
what I was thinking of, if we like close above the wicks, so to say.
Yeah. But the thing is, you need to confirm that this is a low, and this structure here confirms that, right? Because you tried to push up, you didn't, you came down, broke the lows, and now you're re-breaking the highs. Once you do that, there's a high chance that you're going to drive, right? And this drive on this 4 hour was a 78 pip drive on the 4 hour candle with no bottom wick and no top wick for the previous candle. And like, you see this? Yeah, so I mean that would be a pretty clean position if that happens, and that's definitely something we can look out for. But I guess it's overall what we're looking for in terms of the buys to continue going up.
Of course.
But if you think about it in terms of the monthly candle, if it closes before this happens, then what you may need to see, right, is if price comes up and it starts closing like but I would say weak bearish for the monthly closure after tapping into this area, right? What I'd probably need to see is not just this area get tapped. I'd probably need to see it lower, like somewhere maybe even around these areas, because I'm understanding that the monthly candle is going to have a very steep bottom wick if it wants to drive up. You haven't tapped into the bottom of the range at 1990, so at any given point you need to generate that liquidity, right, before you can go up.
Yeah.
So again, like you also have to kind of play the time frames, but yeah, I would 100% agree with this mirror on the left that we're looking to try to catch.
Also, I think also it depends a little bit on the structure from before, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
before that doesn't look like what
yeah.
we currently have. So no, but yeah. All
But
right,
yeah, in
cool.
terms of
Thank
the
you.
structure and the understanding, yeah,
Mm.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Eddie's here. Hey, Eddie. What's the deal? What's the deal? Is that Wix in the house? I am good. Hope you are doing well as well. Did you guys all take the trade with Don today?
No, I wasn't on during New York, so I was
Uh,
working.
Yeah, but I was sort of taking it anyway, if that makes any sense.
yeah. I think if anybody saw it, it was probably one of the cleanest trades we've had in a while.
Great.
In terms of like understanding, like in terms of like structure that makes sense.
Mm.
I think it was I think I got two positions there. Like I took one like here, and then I took another one where he called it as you got this break of the like a top wick re-breaking this high and then a flip, and they were like four pips away from each other, but yeah, pretty clean.
Yeah, and then the 4 hour opens to make a top wick and flips as well, but I didn't take it, I was on the phone again.
I think the top wick I was expecting it slightly further up, but it
Really?
was pretty clean.
I assumed it wouldn't need a massive top wick, given we just had one.
Yeah, I think but the issue I think for us was you had this 5 minute candle come down, break the lows, and then close like this. A little bit dodgy there, but yeah, I think overall yeah, I mean, if you had a steeper top wick, we probably could have had more positions to come down towards like 2020, but because of how it opened up, probably it was slightly more difficult.
Yeah, you said you took two positions.
Yeah.
Pretty similar in terms of like the trade. Is that sort of similar to like a while back we were speaking about sort of adding size to positions and go on sort of how it plays out?
Yeah,
Is that sort of what you've done here?
I did it mainly because like once I took this first position right here, I was like, okay, this is a pretty like it's pretty normal entry, I would say. At any given point, you can create a steeper top wick for this candle to come back down, but I'm expecting at least a push down towards like around these sorts of areas at 2024, because you have pretty clean traffic looking left, right, and I have a pretty nice break even around this area. But overall, I was understanding that if you do come up and then flip again after this overall structure here, there's a high chance you're just gonna drive. So taking the second position after the drawdown, I think made pretty like quite a lot of sense for myself. Because if it didn't come up to create this and then flip, or if it like kind of just I wouldn't have taken anything off the rip if that's what Don was taking. I would have needed to see like some drawdown to come back up to show me and confirm that it's not going to continue driving up. And the re-break at this low was either that position or a flip of this candle. And it was like a pretty nice 1 hour flip, and the hourly was respecting this area, right? Overall,
Like an hourly and a 15 flip in the same place.
exactly.
So
It was pretty nice. But yeah.
How does that work in terms of sort of risk per trade?
Well, the thing is, for this second position, like I had full risk for my first position, but after this top wick, my first position stops with here. And then my second position stops were above. So I had like an 8 pip stop after, but my initial stop for that was like above here.
Yeah.
I think it was, no, it wasn't even there. It was like way higher. I think I used this stop. What was that stop? Like just about like here.
Is that in your?
120.
If it's not 100 pips, it's not big enough.
It's just like because this overall liquidity grab is just within this range. Even if you came up to break this level, but you're closing respecting and you come to tap like 2032 or even like 2033 here, it's still valid to come down potentially. So you could have more chances of like potential pineapples to come down. But once you do break this, you have the worry of like, is this going to come straight up to around 2045? And that's not something you want to hold through. Because that's another 70 pips. But I think like realistically, the chance of you breaking this high is low. And if you do break that high, you're definitely gone, I would say. Especially during the volume like that you had here. Eddie, you had buys later in the day, you had a final... Yeah, this bullish push. Yeah. No top wick. No bottom wick. No bottom wick, no top wick, no bottom wick. What's up, Mo?
Would you also say that it was not enough liquidity to push even further up?
Oh, for the buys?
Yeah.
I would say it was just way too late in the session. Like after 6 p.m. I just don't really trade.
No. I mean at around 30.
Oh, here?
30. Yeah.
Oh, I would say the reason it didn't continue to push up, well, firstly, right, you like right before this, you had this, right? You had to push up all the way. You had a rejection to come back down to the range. And then your overall kind of like structure as well. I think for the daily, yesterday's candle, you closed bearish. Understanding that, okay, if you are bearish overall, if this daily does flip to come down, it's pretty good, right? And you have a pretty nice top wick to kind of justify the daily highs. And then your 4 hour also closed respecting a level. And as you're coming down, you're probably more looking for sells to fill the range down to like 2025 and eventually down towards like 2020 sorts of areas. And then just in line with all of that, you break below this area, let me get rid of this box, right? So if you break back into this range overall from here to around here, right, you haven't filled the range, so you're expecting a range fill, and this is just a top wick for you to take that.
Because I was also looking more for the level of like below 2020 for the wicks on the 15, so to say. That these have to be grabbed at least to have an even further push.
So like a sell below 2020 and then a top wick.
Yeah, so basically when it came down from the high there from 2037.
Yeah.
I was looking that levels of 2019 were to be broken at least for an even further push.
Yeah, like around these areas, right?
I
would say that like you at least, once you closed like this, first of all, like this as well, you closed like below the range, kind of respecting if you just move this like here, right? And then after that, you started driving down, but you didn't push all the way, so you needed more liquidity, right? And then you get this, then you have like a 30 and like it's a closure within this rejection coming back in. I think it was basically just the hourly that it made sense on. Closure respecting, creating a top wick for this. Overall structure was pretty nice. I would suggest, I would also say that like the main thing we saw was that overall you had this very aggressive spike for price. Like if you were watching it, it was like 2 or 3 seconds where it just spiked up from like 2027 all the way to like 2030, like 30 pips immediately.
It was really quick.
Where was it? It was this, like out of nowhere you had this 1 minute spike, which was 33 pips, right? And then as that happens, right, typically, when we say it's going to be, trickling, we mentioned this yesterday, right? I think, Tom, you brought this up. When we're trickling, and then you reach that level that you typically need to grab liquidity at, you start rejecting. So that's kind of what we're looking for as well. And overall, once you get those closures back into the ranges, then we can look to take those positions coming down. Where to go? Here. Yeah. And then what I basically took was just a zucchini. If you really think about it, range 1, range 2, confirming, break of range 2 lows. It's technically just a zucchini, right?
Yeah.
But it made sense with structure, so yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how it's doing like similar things we've seen in the past few days.
Yeah.
Like that trickling up and then like just pushes randomly to some particular level, and then we get sort of any closures below, it just drives to the bottom.
Exactly, yeah. But I would say once you do get an actual breakout above or below this range, expect volume, but not necessarily direction. Like above 2031 or like below, like in terms of a closure, right? Below 2016 or above 2031, then you could see quite a lot of volume come in. In which direction, no idea. Even news could be the completely opposite direction of where price will eventually go. Yeah, because if you want to come up, you need liquidity potentially to break these areas to come up. Like last time, you created these lows, right? Looking at this, you broke it and then you started coming up, right? In these cases, you came down, grabbed the liquidity down here, and then you started coming up back to these areas. So overall, you need liquidity to go up, right? Even here, you grab liquidity at like 1999 to start going up. Here, you grab liquidity at 2010 before you were able to start going up. Here, you also grabbed around 2008 before you made your push. So yeah, hopefully news comes down, and then if we start flipping up, we can look to take advantage of this range. This range is very nice. From 2037, 2038, just above here, all the way up to this kind of 2046. Ideally, it doesn't come up first. If it does, then we can't really take any positions, right? But if it comes down, creates that low, confirms that low for us, and then starts flipping bullish, retesting these highs, yeah, we can look to take that position. And that could be a day for runners, right? Like here to here is like 70 pips. Knowing us though, we will be closing full right here.
Yeah.
At around 19 max. Top of this range here.
How would you sort of like define runners?
I think I would say it's just like where you're leaving it to kind of play out in terms of the higher level time frames. Like for example, if we get a pretty good position, right, a pretty good entry on like a buy going up above, right, say it's like a break of these highs, but we got like a wick entry, right, then in that case, then yeah, cool, we'll look to attempt some runners, because in terms of the higher time frames, the 4 hours looking like it'll potentially push up, right? So if you get like a 4 hour closure that looks like this above the range, but you have like a very steep bottom wick like this, your next candle comes down first, creates a bottom wick, then flips, and we get like a wick entry somewhere around here, then yeah, like I'll be looking to ride this up with the 4 hour time frame and play out the 4 hour range, right? Because from here on out, the 4 hour range is between here and here, right? And that would be, I would say, classified as a potential runner, because you got a position here. Your potential, like, let's say it's not quite there, right? Let's say it's somewhere like here, even here, up to here, you're attempting a 100, basically 150 pips. Yeah, and that's just riding up with the 4 hour time frame, I would say, or like even potentially the daily time frame.
And we get that wick entry based on a lower time frame play that we normally get, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends. So for example, if the 4 hour does close like this with such a steep bottom wick, like obviously we get a closure above most recent range, we're looking to take buys, right? But probably in terms of the lower time frames, you may have something that's like you need a little bit more confirmations. So maybe we're looking for a bottom wick, and that will also be in the form of maybe like a bottom wick for the 4 hour. How I can envision it right now is potentially you have like an hourly closure above, right? But then like with this closure here, but then your next hourly kind of comes down first, but it has a top wick like this. Or it doesn't have a top wick, and it kind of starts coming down like this, right? And then as you're coming down, you're respecting potentially like this level or something, and then you have like a bullish closure, or say like something that looks like this, right? And then once you get potentially a bottom wick or like a, let's, to make this very simple, right? Let's say we get like another bullish closure looks like this, confirming that that is like, this is a support, right? Next candle comes down, breaks the lows. We might not get the wick entry when it comes to the hourly, but in terms of the 4 hour, it could be a wick entry, right? So like somewhere around here, this still could be a wick entry on the 4,
Yeah.
right? And then that will potentially let you ride up all the way to those areas. Obviously, the way I've drew this level is kind of where this should be. So let's try to draw that slightly better so it makes a lot more sense. But like, say you get this, right? Like a closure like this, your next hourly closure looks like this, right? And you're just understanding that you also have range to fill, like taking, like if price comes down first, breaks the lows, you could look for the flip, right? And then that's your potential positions. And your 4 hour, when it comes to it, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. It's the same as this candle, right? We're just getting an entry here or an entry here, and those positions would be around this area.
Yeah, I got you. Sure.
So it depends, like if price isn't pushing as aggressively as this, then we can look to take this potential entry, right? Because it's the hourly structure that's forming, right? And this would be the onion play on the hourly. Whereas in this structure, it's just a 4 hour play because you've gotten a lot of liquidity at these ranges below. You come down, grab that bottom wick. Yeah, high chance you're going to create a top wick for the 4 hour after closing above. Because if you wanted to come down, you would have driven down from here. Yeah. But I would say this is also slightly dangerous, mainly because this is the last 4 hourly candle of the 4. But, you know, that's just the way I've drawn it. I think there's a lot of ways it can definitely print.
Yeah, bait out as well, maybe.
Yeah, like for example, you could also get this, right, where you have a closure above on your previous, right? And then as your next candle is coming down, right, you're coming down, and it's like, oh, cool, okay, but you've closed like this now suddenly, with like something that looks like this. Then maybe you're looking for an off the rip, or maybe just like a steeper bottom wick here, and then a re-break of this high, because overall you're still above the range, right? It's looking like you have this massive rejection coming up, so you could potentially even attempt the wick entries there, and you could potentially get same positions or same wicks. And then your last 4 could be like something like this, right? Whereas you kind of start rejecting around this area or whatever. Oh, Nimmy's here. Hello. You haven't been here for a while. You would have been very comfortable taking buys if it tapped 2016, 2018, as in today, or like when? What time frame? Because it tapped 2016, I think, yesterday. Today, I think the buys of 2016 are difficult, I think, especially because your daily started popping up first. I think if you took the buys at 2016, it's just after that top wick, if it came down, I don't know if it like necessarily would have started going back up. It could be difficult in that case because your daily's flipping at that point. Closures above 2027. Oh, closure above here, and then it comes down, and then starts. Yeah, because then you can take advantage of the range. Yeah, I think that's pretty valid. Pretty valid. Yeah, gold moved interesting today. I mean, we're just in a range. I think after stream, Don just called me and we were just discussing it for a bit. But the position was clean. It's just the range that it's currently in is just, we've been there for a while. Like we were here like early Jan as well, right? We got like a bit of a push, but then we kind of ended up back in the same place.
It's like kind of a bit boring at this point.
Yeah, man, just do something new.
I'm looking at this same stupid 2031 level that's not clean whatsoever.
Yeah. Every single day, and you're just like, Oh, is it actually gonna respect this, or like what's gonna happen here?
Oh, but on the 15th, like near the end of the day, it did that like push up and then like doji candle and then slight comeback down.
Here?
At like 7:45 ish. It's not quite doji, but
7:45. Here.
yeah.
Thing is, again, like, were you looking to trade that, or like, what's your
No,
kind of
it's just
viewpoint?
a sort of observation. I might start taking an interest in maybe trying to.
Like a break of these lows or something, and like
Yeah.
a stop loss above here.
Yeah.
10 pip stop loss. I think.
But it is. I'd have to specifically watch it for a while.
You'd probably want some like high level confirmation as well. Like maybe this, like if you're expecting price to drive up, you probably need some liquidity below here, or at least like below here. So if that's the case, it's just, I don't like, realistically it's pretty much impossible for me to determine how far it's gonna drive, especially at like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Because some days, right, you'll just start pushing late session, but it's like, where is it going? Like, no idea. But yeah, like this, like, I mean, this was January 18th, right? And just 6 p.m, 7 p.m, 8 p.m, 9 p.m, you just started, you pushed pretty far, right? Like 80 pips, 90 pips over 3 hours up to like 9, 10 p.m. Like, why? Nothing you could have done there, but yeah, if anything, this is just a sign that like you don't have enough liquidity to continue driving down or up. Oh, your daily opened. Yeah, please come down first. Please. Tom, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say that, like, earlier on today,
Yeah.
I had a sell based on the 30, so I had a range from 2024 to sort of 2020. And I see that whenever we close below that 2024,
Here?
we normally get a fill. Yeah. So I took, like, sort of a wick entry.
Around like these areas.
Yeah.
Oh, did you wait for this closure below 2024 then, I'm guessing?
Yeah. I was waiting for the closure 2024, and then it came
Is your
up and
level-
I got
okay.
the wick entry just, like, near that 2024 level.
Around here?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it come down for you, or?
Yeah, I think I was in, like, I think the max profit was, like, 10 pips. But it
Yeah.
was just, like, I was thinking, because we were driving so heavily down, I wasn't as worried about the 4 hour no top wick.
Oh, you're
I don't know
looking
if
at
that
these
was, like, a lapse
positions.
in judgment.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
there
it
was a
like
reason.
11.
I would say overall, like I would say you have a level there, but at the same time, I think it was around here, right?
It
Oh no,
half
it was 11.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was like basically this was London,
Yeah, it's London.
around here. I'd say you probably needed something around here to grab liquidity. Last time you came down to these areas, you did grab liquidity up back to here before you pushed further down to here. So probably would have waited for a top wick around here at least. Just looking at this. Just because it's relatively mirroring this, right? Like you're coming down after pushing up. I mean, what are the other time frames looking like? You're 30 close below. Yeah, maybe a slightly steeper top wick. What, this was 11. When did price open? Price opened here. So Yeah, you created a top wick. You were looking to come down. What was your hourly looking like? Hourly new top wick. That's not great.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was like not 100% on was that near top width for the hour and 4 hour.
Your 4 hour is pretty nice though. But the thing is, your 4 hour also filled the range, right? You filled the range towards around 20. Like if you just look at this. Right, so this is why we use all time frames, because just that one line at 2024, that's your 4 hour fill of the range. So even if you did close below, it's like, are we definitely gonna drive? You faked out, right? Came back down into this range. So this is my total TP, I would say. So if you were taking like a breakout around these areas, it'd be difficult because you don't really have range to drive on the 4. Right, your higher time frames are potentially showing you that that's basically it, right? Any other range that's coming down could be liquidity for us to continue back up. But if you were like say above here, like 2026, yeah, you have room to drive down to 2024, which would have been great. But yeah, that's probably the only thing I can see. But if I didn't go to the 4 hour time frame there, like I wouldn't have spotted that, right? So that's why all the time frames are useful.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I saw that before.
Yeah. I actually took a break even here. Where was it? This 15 closed respecting like this. I took a break of this low. And then I got slipped fucking really badly. I don't even know how this keeps happening. Got slipped like 6 pips. So
is this on the...
Yeah.
Was it Nova?
Yeah, it's so bad.
That's not even... Is that even the slip or just the spread?
I don't even know. But I entered the position on a sell after this candle, like here. And then it kind of like, I was like, okay, well, cool. And then as it came back down, I was like, I mean, I don't have range to even go break even. So I was like, yeah, fair.
When you sort of entered that break of the low,
Yeah.
did it literally drive like as soon as it broke the low, or?
Oh, no. It went up, I think, first. Oh, sorry. I got in like around here, right? The break of some of these lows around here. So it drove around like this much, but I think I got slipped basically down to there anyway. So it was around here where I got in. And then it started coming up first. Was I even in that much drawdown? I think it came down and then up. Yeah, you came down and then up. So around here, you came down, and so I was like, yeah, I might as well just close full because it was bad entry overall.
Oh, probably slipped in that case.
Yeah. But it's really interesting because like that account, I have like one account which is the actual funded and the evaluation. The other one is like I'm doing the funding stage at the moment, like the phase 1. Mm-hmm. One of them, I've taken the exact same trades on both accounts. One is up and one is down.
Oh wow.
And I think that's because like the live account, they give you more spreads.
They're really trying to fuck you.
I mean, that's another one of the reasons why I don't necessarily want to continue with funded for too long, but we will see. But it's been a pretty good trading month so far. Hopefully that's been the case for everybody here as well.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah. I think as long as you're setting yourself like some goals along the way that are achievable, you don't want to set like very, very high level goals because like you're not going to feel great after not achieving them over a very, very short time frame, or you're going to stress out a lot and then also achieve it to probably like a subpar level and then feel really bad afterwards.
Yeah.
For my part, I'm actually in drawdown, like I think almost 2% or 1.5% on a funded.
I think that's fine. I've been in drawdown. Like I was previously in my ACG, I was previously in 6% drawdown or something.
All right.
Out of, I think, what is it? Max drawdown is like 10. And now I'm up like 4%.
Yeah. It was because, do you know this, like, I don't know if I want to call it a bug, but when you have a lot size on an account and you switch to another account on the phone, and then it takes over, and I unfortunately had a little bit too high lot size.
Yeah. I think it happens on your phone really easily as well.
Yeah, and then I went down and draw down. And I was like, no, I'm not getting like the daily loss limit right now, and I had to like panically sort of say stop out.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I mean, that's a good thing though that you actually stopped out. Some like, knowing some people and like potentially even myself, I would have just been like, this can do it. Yeah, like I'll just
Yeah.
make a lot of money here, like, and then lose the account.
I had that thinking for a second, and then I saw like it wiped down like into like I don't know minus 1,000 in like 2 seconds, and I was like, oh fuck, no.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, I
Yo.
think. Yo, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Chilling. What's up, Jacob?
Just get home?
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to ask. Last
Yeah.
night, Wiggs had a position. If you gonna go to the
Oh.
price,
Yeah. On what time frame?
just go on 30. I think his position was.
Tuesday morning, right? So around here.
Yeah, I think he had a buy like 2022, like here, somewhere around here.
Yeah.
And then later on that night, like towards going to London, I was just watching price, and then go drop down to like the 5 now. And then we were just pushing, and then like up to here. Like if you zoom into price, this like once you broke, wait, zoom out of it a little bit more so I can see I want to see because there was traffic to the left. All right, yeah, like once you broke here, because you have said, all right,
Yeah.
like whatever, no matter what happens, price is gonna come up to like touch those highs.
Yeah. Did I say that yesterday?
What did you say?
Is that what I said yesterday?
I don't remember. No, I
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so wait, does that make sense?
I would say that like once you're kind of ranging here, right? You established a kind of range here, which is a very good sign, right? In terms of both directions that if you want to, wherever you want to go, because if you want to come up, right, then cool, you're coming up. You'll if you're still in the trade, you can potentially get more profits from it, more pips, right? But you'll likely see some potential break before going up, right? And that will confirm that you continue to go up, right? But in this case, you went up first, which is also fine because that could be liquidity for us to come down, but we would probably exit our next overall level, which, maybe if you're grabbing liquidity around like 2034, around 2034 sort of areas, I would say. It's not bad. I mean, if you held through all of this, yeah. Once you get a break this high, you
Yeah,
should
no,
be
we
good to
had a
push.
fucking mean ass runner. That was like what 200 pips almost.
Really? From all the way to the top?
From 20. No, I don't know if he held it right, but I know he
Ah.
left the position. Like he ended streaming, he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving the position open here," and then I don't know when he closed.
I mean, the whole position was 150, so he probably held
Not
for
the
like.
whole position. Yeah, he closed 75% and left his 25%. But
I see. Yeah, he's been catching some pretty good runners.
and also too, I feel like I'm gonna start trying to see if I notice this, but just the same thing, like paying attention to like what price is at, like the cycle. I don't know if it does happen like this, but I feel like if you get a move in like Asian, and I think Don said this before, right? So it's like if you get a move in like Asian and then London, or I feel like New York will have like the final move, and then like if you don't get that move during London and Asian though, you have New York get the first move, and then like you'll get that move towards like 12 p.m. and like towards more of the afternoon, like the next push. But I feel like maybe if it happens during like Asian and then London, you don't get that second push after like New York, like after the main hours in New York, like going into the afternoon. Because
Yeah.
like that happened today, like we just kind of ranged after we got those first pushes during like the main hours of New York, and then like towards the afternoon, yeah, we just fucked about.
Yeah, I think overall though, you still have like the highest chance of a position in New York because like regardless of what happens, you have volume, right? You have the most volume. So like for example, this we didn't have news or anything. It just spiked up and spiked down. So when it does stuff like that, then yeah, you can probably get into trades, right? But yeah, I think typically if you just overall, it doesn't even matter. I think like the sessions, just understanding the fact that market has cycles. If it's ranging, then yeah, just wait until you get your setup or whatever. But yeah, That's a pretty good position from Wicks. What was it, like the daily? He was expecting the daily coming up first after closing out. What the 4 hour look like? Guess he took it around here. Basically market open. Closing respecting all of this. Hourly. Yeah, I mean, you're respecting all of this. You came down, broke the lows at 1. Came down, broke the lows, re-broke this high. 2023 here, re-breaking this high, maybe. Let's look like on the 15. Came up, broke this high first. Probably, could you have gone in that position? Probably waiting for a bottom wick to around like these areas, which you did get.
I
Yeah.
think
I would have
position was
probably
somewhere
taken
here.
I would have
I don't know
probably
if he
gone
got.
here. He
Sorry?
took a position around here, 2021.
I think it
2022.
was there because I think this was a pullback before price never after that price didn't retrace.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he got hit at B. So yeah, his position was somewhere within these candles.
Ah, fair. Yeah, he's been saying he's been like trying to catch these positions where, pretty successfully, right? Where like when prices specifically like, for example, if you just look at the daily, right? As it's happening, it came down, touched the bottom of the range, started rejecting. So your residual momentum is to continue up. So even if you are to come down, right, you're probably going to come up first before coming down. So high chance you can look to take a buy with some smaller confirmations to create that daily top wick. And I think that's because like he's been trading Asian sessions so much, he's been noticing that. So every session has a slightly different trading method, I would say, because you're just working with different volumes and different like times of day. So yeah, it's pretty good. Market opened around here, right? Here came down, came up, re-broke the lows, then came back up. I'm surprised he got in here though. I would have.
I'm honestly can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, fair.
But it was somewhere around there.
Yeah, fair enough.
What would you have waited for?
I mean, just if you just look at the 15, right? You have a level there. Your 30 also. I mean, once you get this closure above, that wasn't his kind of session yet. His session kind of starts around here, so you also didn't really get a closure above, I would say. You have a top wick, rebreak at this high. I guess you could potentially fill this range going left, which is around 10 pips, I guess. That's probably his break even. But it's just, I would have waited potentially for like a 15 closure above here, right? So something looks like this instead, like on this candle, right? I guess that was quite a steep bottom wick, right? And then your next candle, if it comes down, that's fine, because I'm expecting potentially a fake out if it wants to continue driving up, a steep bottom wick as well. And then as you're re-breaking this high, you can potentially look. But again, I'll also probably need to see some bottom wick as well. So this wasn't good enough for me, and I would say this wasn't good enough for me. But again, I don't trade Asian sessions, so he's definitely seeing things clearer than I am, which is why he caught the runner, right? I'll probably watch that, like yesterday's analysis from him then, just to see what he was looking for. It's always good to learn. What are we doing right now? Daily is, oh no, coming up.
I have to watch Don's stream from yesterday because I wasn't training, but I couldn't see it on YouTube. So I don't know if he's having copyright or something. But
Yeah, I think.
yeah,
He didn't want to show that 60 pip drop.
I think it's because like he's been doing like these occasional DJ sessions at the end of the stream, and I think the copyright
Yo, that
music.
trade when the alarm went off, that was funny.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Bro looked like he was panicking. I know, because honestly, if that was me, bro, and I was streaming, and then I just got in a trade, and then the fire alarm went off, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
I think he was just like panicking about the fire alarm being like really noisy for the stream. I don't think he cared about the trade at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. The combination like unsettles you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like that's the sort of thing where you go, that's fated, you know?
Yeah. But another dub and the streak continues.
Yeah.
Man, he's on 62 wins.
It's actually insane.
Yeah, it's mental.
What's your highest, Elvis?
I don't even count. That's the thing. Like, I don't even know where to start to count. I think like max, like maybe 20, 10, 15, 20, like around that range. I don't know specifically. Oh, Nav is here. What's up, Nav? Yeah, I think around that. And then like, typically what I've been doing previously is I just take like a relatively, I wouldn't say unplanned position, but I would zoom into the smaller time frames a little bit too much. And then I'll take like a slightly less confirmed position. Or like, for example, for today's trade, right? Like, which isn't good practice, by the way. Like, you know how, Tom, you were saying you look for a closure below here, like on the 30? I was looking for that position below this candle to continue down. But it's like, at this point, if price really wanted to drive down, you wouldn't have created this structure. Right? So it's like, why do you get into a trade here, knowing that if you want to continue down, you need more liquidity? So in that case, I probably should have waited for this before coming down anyways. Right? So taking the position here is probably not as smart. So it's just more of those, but now I'm like more aware of them, which is good. So there's learning there as well.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, what's my streak now? One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm on a 9 streak right now. Wait, no, that was a pineapple. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm on a 16 streak right now.
Brother, nice.
Yeah.
See, the goal is to catch and overtake guns.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, at this point, I don't expect him to take dumb positions. Like, if he does lose, I think it'll be based off of, like, either he woke up a little bit with, like, a little bit too, like, he's a little bit too tired in the morning, or he hasn't had his coffee and he's, like, looking at price and decides on a position. Or, like, I don't know, something that's going to take him off of his, like, prime form that he's in at the moment. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for him to not do a clear and good analysis and then get into a trade.
On that one, Elvis, do you think it could also like influence psychology-wise? Like, even though you don't plan for the win streak, but the higher you get, the more like, I don't know, safer you want to get to keep it.
That makes sense, yeah, Mo. Like, even though you don't plan for it,
Yeah.
but still, like, I think you could get to a point where you kind of just zone in and you don't even think about the win streak, like he also says.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, if I'm that high, like the higher I get some sort of, like, even though I don't plan on it, I might even then when I trade and I'm just like a little bit in profit, like just close it out to get sort of say the win streak higher up.
Yeah, I would say like,
I mean, even though he's not planning on it, right? But
yeah. I think it's a combination of a few things. I think firstly it's experience, right? He's gone on win streaks before, he's gone on loss streaks before, so like the fact that he's on another win streak is like, for him it's like, oh, okay, it's another one of those. Like a loss to him now, like I was talking to him, he basically feels like a loss is just the same as a win. There's, why are we dropping?
holy.
That is nice. That's very nice, actually. Top wake to come down.
First pre-Asian position.
I mean, the only way I can get it if it breaks this high. Let's have a look. I probably need like the 30 to close. Next 30 comes up, breaks all of these highs, then flips, breaks this candle. Maybe. But it needs to close below here on the 30. And then after that, probably needs to come up to around like, overall, I would say around this sort of area here. Maybe even higher. Anywhere between
That's a 1 minute candle or so.
yeah. I doubt it's going to close below. And then it's probably, the volume's probably also going to die down right after. Typically that's what you see. But yeah. But yeah, with the whole like win streak thing, like previously, like I think like even for myself, right, I would say like, you know, maybe a couple months ago, I would be like on even like a 4 or 5 win streak. I'd be like, oh, wow, I'm on a win streak. Like, oh, like what is my next loss gonna be or whatever. Like you're kind of predicting the loss, right? But then to some degree, you're also worried about the loss because you're worried about losing money, not because of losing the trade. You're less worried about the actual streak and more worried about losing money being a more and more definite thing that might happen, right? Whereas where we're kind of at and where Don's kind of mindset is now is just very generalist, like, oh yeah, I'm understanding that the trade is just the trade. I will take this again. Like a loss, a win, whatever it is, the outcome is the same almost. Like
I also do think it's a nice test for your psychology and for your
it definitely is a test.
And it will, I think, also increase it.
Yeah.
And it makes it more, like you say, it was like a loss is also a win for him. It kind of makes you like numb for losses and wins, so to say, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's also really good.
Yeah. Yeah, you aspire to reach that level of calm during trading? Yeah, absolutely, right? That would be very ideal. Hourly, the thing is, your hourly closed above respecting, which is not ideal. You probably need an hourly closure, to be honest. 15 no top wick, you definitely need to break the highs regardless, right? Your 4 hour, it just opened up as well. No, sorry. Technically opened up like an hour and a half ago. Your 4 hour, what is it closing? It also closed above 2028, which is like these sorts of levels here. Closed above, you haven't even tapped into the top of the range. Yeah, I don't think you can probably take this position. Your 30, even if it closes below, you're worried that the hourly is going to flip to come up, right? Because number one, you have this range to fill up to here, which you haven't. Number two, you're probably expecting a steeper bottom wick before you're coming up, so I don't know how far you can take that down. Unfortunate.
Well, not really. I think it's sleep.
I mean, yeah, the only issue is like if I get into a trade now, that's me up for another like hour, if especially during this volume. But we can take a mental note of it and see what happens next time. Just sample size. Like this, right? As it's breaking this low, are we going to see a drive? Unlikely, I think. Right, you broke this low. Can you drive? Drive to where? Is your bottom?
There's no bottom wick. It might be nice to go back up.
Yeah, but you can't just take the fake out like that, I think. It'll be difficult. Because your 30 will have closed below. You did get a closure. 30 closure below with just about a bottom wick.
Is that one pip?
I mean, you know, obviously this can drive and fill the next range down on the 30, which is down towards around 20 to 26. But again, I think that's 18 pips, 15 almost. Knowing me, I'll get slipped right about here. So I'll have about a 5 pip advantage point, which is great to trade. What's interesting to back this out? 4-hour closures below and above the Asia highs and lows levels to indicate direction. Yeah, fair enough. I think the only issue is like, I guess like that'll usually happen like London, right? London, potentially New York. Oh yeah, one thing as well I wanted to mention is one thing that really helped me to continue on as and like learning and like looking at the markets to avoid FOMO and all of that is when you're seeing price when it should drive but it's not, FOMOing during that stage is probably the least logical. Why? Because if it should drive according to your analysis and it's not driving, there must be some other factors, right, that are influencing price not being able to drive. So for you to then get into the position at that point, it's more, there's a higher probability chance that it's a bad idea, right? Like for example here, it could drive, right? But I'd expect a top wick. So even if you got that top wick and like it wasn't exactly to where it was, like where you wanted it to be, in this case, you know, a re-break of the daily highs to come down, even if I didn't get that exactly and I'm looking at price drive, can I FOMO over this? Because it's not driving as aggressively as it should, as I would like it to, right? So the FOMO doesn't make sense. Because what? This is driven 2 pips? Like you look at this, it's like, wow, you know, you're breaking the lows, whatever. You've driven 3 pips and now you're rejecting, right? And for me, like when I first kind of understood that as like a concept of like, oh yeah, if it should drive, then it'll drive. I'll miss my position, but it still should drive regardless because it's not going to wait for me, right? And then once I kind of understood that, I kind of got rid of that level of FOMO going into those trades. Then yeah, it helped a lot, I think, overall.
That's a good way to look at it, actually.
Yeah, like if it should drive, it should, right? If price wants to drive, it will. And it's just also good to sample size that because like it's technically like another trade in your playbook, which is not quite the exact setup. So you can kind of see mentally what would happen if you don't get your exact setup, like that exact top wick you're looking for. Like this, like if I got into a trade here just for the sake of the trade, nothing would have happened, right? At least till now, and you still could flip up, create that top wick.
Oh, I see. Wix has sent me a friend request on Discord.
Oh, nice. Can't wait to lose £1,000.
Yes, let's go. It's also so crazy how they put in their like profile like the roles they have on the server, you know? Like they try to I don't know, somehow convince you with that.
Are those real people?
Yeah, they're real people. They're
Yeah.
typically like either like people from like Myanmar or like from like India, trying to like scam
That's
you.
what I thought. Yeah.
But
yeah,
they're like
yeah.
they're basically like organizations. They have people who will just call you on like a daily basis, or like once you respond and they have your details, they will call you.
Oh boy.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, because the whole business model of how they work is like they tried, like I think it's based off of like an overall split plus commission. There was like a documentary on it. It was pretty nuts, man.
Send it in if you want to have a look on it.
Yeah, I'm having a look now.
Those are the like
Lovely.
One of God's own prototypes.
Runner Wix 9. Wow,
That is
this
what
is
I mean,
so
like-
photoshopped as well.
They tried to
Jesus.
put in like the roles on the profile, but it wouldn't even
No
show the
way.
profile. It
That's
wouldn't even show
pretty
the
nuts.
profile. Like no matter if they have the roles on the server, it
I
wouldn't
didn't
show in
even
the profile.
notice that.
Wow. That is, I mean, well done to them. I'm not gonna lie. That's done pretty well. Let's try to find like Wix's actual one.
It'll probably be the same description, minus the roles.
No, it's like, I think the design is slightly different. Let's have a look. I've got it up. Let me just screenshot that.
I also have it. And he definitely doesn't have the roles in there.
Oops.
Also that his Discord account is just from the 21st of December 2023. I guess that doesn't fit.
So you see these, right? Like this compared to like this here, like these compared to these, they're very
You can't
different,
see
right?
them on the right if you show them.
Oh, you can't see my Discord.
No.
Wow. Interesting. You can now.
No.
I see that now, yeah.
So like you see these compared to these.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, wow, that's pretty good effort. I'm not gonna lie. Well done to them. Props to you. But you see this? This is why we didn't get in the position, right?
This is one of the things I'm looking at as a
As a potential trade, yeah.
yeah.
The thing is, again, like
It's dodgy though. It's
it is 9-9. Maybe you'll get more, but it's like you don't have true direction here. Like it could drive down, it could drive up. It's difficult to tell. You got a 5 closure below the range as well, so
this one. If I had taken it, I would not have been happy.
yeah.
Like if it doesn't flip within like the first 2 minutes sort of thing, it's like, oh god.
Yeah, exactly. Thing is, like, even if, like, for example, guys, if you're looking for anything, God knows why, right? You're probably looking for at least a closure that looks like this with the top wick, like this. And then in that next case, you can probably look for a top wick again, and then a flip to come down, right? That would probably be your position, potentially, right? That's the only way you could even start hunting if it even breaks this high and then starts re-breaking this low. But the issue is, when is the volume going to start dying down? Because you're getting towards, I mean, you're still in market open. This is just a bit of the residual volume that's going to come through, but it will die eventually. And then you have to look at your overall higher time frames, right? Your 30 has closed below, which is okay, but your previous hourly has closed bullish respecting. Any given point, this could flip to fill the range up to 2031. So what do you need to see? You need to see a re-break of potentially the hourly or the 4-hour highs up here, potentially in this box, right, to come down. So when you realize that, then like suddenly, can I really take those sells to continue down? Probably not. It can drive. If it drives, hallelujah, right? I'll get some trades in New York because I want that, steep bottom wick for the daily before we're able to retest those highs. That would be so ideal. How's my trading going? It's pretty good, consistent. I have my live, which is like kind of the same as Don. Like we kind of started at like 1K. But I didn't start at 1K. I started at 1.5 and then I lost $500. So I then was forced to start at 1K. But I stopped trading that account for a while, like a good 4 or 5 months. And then after that, I came back to it and then I linked up like social trader tools or whatever. I started trading like consistently on it and now it's like 2.1. So it's pretty good. And that's like, because it's linked to everything else, that's essentially just the trading that's been going on, right? But I think 0.1 on a $1,000 account is pretty high risk as well, because like 100 pips is still $100, which is 10% of the account.
By the way, I wiped my account on my old broker and I switched to Blueberry.
How do you feel?
Really good.
Yeah. I
Just
do
waiting
like
now
Blueberry.
that I get the withdrawal from my old broker and then deposit it directly into it.
Yeah, Blueberry is very nice.
It's actually really nice, the offer you get from Don when we talked about it. I think,
Yeah.
was it Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
Like if you deposit like 1,000, they fund you with $200, but just as equity, but still.
Yeah. Thing is though, like, so I think I didn't capture that exact offer, but I got the one which was like, I think they give you like 50% of your account is like free equity up to a certain amount. And I deposited 100, so at the time I only have like 50 equity. And it does nothing, man. I'm trading 0.01 again, just linking up to social trader tools, and I made, what is it? I made like $3 today. I was pretty happy with that.
Nice. But I think actually the leverage is crazy with Blueberry.
Yeah, once 500, right?
Yeah, because I remember on mine, on the old one, I had 1 to 30, and now it's
Oh.
like, yeah, you can have like 1 to
Was 1
500.
to 30?
130 is quite
Yeah.
low.
Yeah,
Fair
if
enough.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
mistaken, to be fair, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think on Blueberry as well, you can choose if you want to use 1 to 100 or like up to 1 to 15 or
yeah.
1 to
So
5.
here it's 1 to 30 for retail and
Yeah.
1 to 500 for professional. But
Yeah.
Blueberry is like straight up, nah, take that 500.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just took the 1 to 100, and that was also the lowest you can only choose. So
Yeah, I think 1 to 100 is also completely okay.
yeah, and also, I mean, I will not over leverage anyways, right? But still keeping myself on the lowest possible.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Just some discipline on that.
It doesn't really matter what the leverage is, but 1 to 100 is just quite easy to calculate the pips off of what the like money is.
Yeah.
Nice round numbers, simple maths.
Yeah.
All right, but I will head off. My alarm goes off in 6 hours, so
Yeah, please.
everyone have a good night.
Yeah, yeah. See ya, see ya, see
Thanks
ya.
for the session, Alice. Good night.
Yeah, night. I think I'm gonna end it around pretty soon as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for joining up, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think that will be Wednesday. So 2 more sessions this week, and then overall, I think next week we jump into February, don't we? Thursday, Friday is February, and then should be good. We will see a monthly closure for the first time in 2024, which will be exciting.
That's gone so quick. Man.
Yeah, January has gone by so quickly. I think it's because so many people were on holiday, and then as you come back, you kind of just lose like almost half of January.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thanks for joining up, guys.
Yeah,
I'll end the
thanks.
Zoom here, and then I'll head off relatively soon. No worries. Yeah. Cheers, guys. For joining. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Cheers, bye.
Peace.
Cheers.
So everybody on the YouTube, thanks for joining up. I think Nimi, you had one last question. If you're still here, how would you transition to trading full time? So I think having the job, you're starting a new full time job, right? To take the I think that's a very good move. Like, there's no shame. I think a lot of people put shame into like not being able to trade professionally. I am so open about not trading professionally. I love not trading professionally, right? Because I have absolutely no pressure of needing to make money. My rent is fine, right? My bills are fine. They're all paid for. My food is paid for. And I just trade for fun, right? And that lets you, it puts you in a very good mindset for learning. So I think I'm fully in support of that. And to transition, I would say you probably need to have quite a good track record for like at least, I would say, half a year. Mainly because for it to be full-time, you want to guarantee that it can make you money in the long term. So yeah, just some sort of confirmation there as well. But for everyone, it's slightly different, right? So it adjusts accordingly. But yeah, thanks for joining up the streams, guys. Unfortunately, we did not get our first trade. What I wanted to see was potentially a break of these highs and then a break of the lows. But at this rate, you're probably going to need to see an hourly closure, right? Because your hourly did close bullish at any given point. This hourly could flip to continue back up. So no trades, unfortunately, but pretty good analysis overall. And because we didn't take that trade because it didn't make sense for us, and it would have you would have been in drawdown right now, right? Would be in about 8 pips with spreads, probably about 10 pips in drawdown, right? So yeah, we avoided that, which is a W in our books. So on to the next, which is either Asian if you're trading that, London, or New York, which I will hopefully see you all again. And yeah, that's going to be it for me tonight. I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day, and peace.